Hello, everyone, and welcome back to NFL Weekly Picks with your boy B Buck, Mr. Tom Ria Sports, joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Big Buck, good to see you as always. What's going on, my man?
Same old bullshit, different week, guys. We're just coming off before we do our NFL Week 14 NFL picks for you here in 2025 NFL season. We're gonna go over what could have been the craziest week of the NFL season. Multiple underdogs winning, week of the underdog, and we're gonna see how we did last week, which was week 13. I went 24 48, 2 or 3 on the confident picks, 7 to 16 point spread, 7 to 16 over under, 10 of 16 on the money line. Not that great, only because it's still at 50%, not bad, but we hold ourselves to a high standard here, and we're always pushing for at least 30, right? Tom actually did very good, pretty good. 28 of 48, 9 of 16 point spread, 8 of 16 over under, 11 of 16 money line, 2 or 3 confident picks. And guys, this was on a week where 7 of the 16 games the underdog won. It was a crazy week of football, and it all kicked off with the Thanksgiving slate of games, which was insane. We had the Packers upsetting the Lions on the road. We had the Chiefs losing to the Cowboys. And then we had the Bengals, Joe Burrow's return, probably the biggest underdogs of the Thanksgiving slate, beating the Ravens in Baltimore in a night game pretty handily, may I say. So, look at this. I only had one pick right in all of the Thanksgiving slate of games. Still kind of, got 10 of 16 on the money line, made do with the rest of the week. Tom, he did a little better. I made fun of him about the Bengals getting the points, and they covered, so very good there. It came out for him. But guys, before we move on to this week's, I feel like there is a few things to point out. That's the overall numbers. If you watch our videos every week, if you watched last week's video, Tom gave the Bengals the points. He picked the Texans to upset the Colts outright, which happened, which the Texans won on the road. He picked the Jets to get a win, which never happens. Guess what? They won. And we both were very, very confident about the Panthers getting 10 points at home against the Rams, basically the best team in the league coming into last week. And me, the only thing I can really say is I'm gonna hang my hat. Yeah, I was say I'm gonna hang my hat on calling the Bears to beat the Eagles outright. They just been on a tear, man. I might even pick them this week, but we'll get to that when we do. The information's out there, guys. Even in a week where the bookies raked in, Vegas raked in, and a lot of people probably lost, we still stayed above 500. Tom actually had a very solid week, so let's try and keep that rolling this week again, brother, unless there's something else you want to throw in about last week.
No, I love it, man. You definitely deserve big time credit for that Bears game. I know you were almost going to pick the Panthers, right? I know your heart wanted to, but we both got them on the spread, so not a bad week. I'm happy with it. Not satisfied, and excited for this week. Let's dive in.
All right, guys. NFL Week 14 weekly picks here, which 2025 NFL season starts with the Dallas Cowboys riding high, trying to make the playoffs after the start of the season they had, on the road taking on the Detroit Lions. Ooh, early playoff preview game. It's a great game. Battle of the Blues over here. This is the Thursday night football game to kick off Week 14. Tom, would you mind starting us off on this one? Because I always love your analysis on both of these teams.
Yeah, this is tough, man. First off, because it's Thursday. Now, it's not your normal Thursday because they both have had a week, right? Because they played on Thanksgiving. So it's not a short week per se.
That's true.
But still, Thursday game. Two teams. I mean, this is kind of a must-win for both these teams. The Cowboys, for sure. They're 6-5-1. They have to win this game. Detroit, they're 7-5. They're pretty damn close to must-win territory, too. It's a tough one to pick. Really tough because Detroit didn't look great against the Giants. Did not look great against the Packers last week. Their defense seems to be faltering a little bit. Now they have a hot Dallas team coming in who just beat both Super Bowl participants back-to-back. This is really tough. Really tough. And I enjoy watching both these teams when they're playing well, even though obviously I'm not a Cowboys fan by any means. But I'm going to take Dallas +3. Let's start there. I think this is because the implications of this game, it should be relatively close. I'd be shocked if either one beats the other team handily. So I like Dallas +3. I think this will be a tight one. The over-under is really tricky. Two high-powered offenses, two defenses that aren't great, although Dallas has played better lately. That being said, I'm going to take the over, 54.5. I think if this was a true Sunday to Thursday game, I might feel differently, but they've had a week to prepare. No St. Brown hurts the Lions here. I'm a little bit worried about that. So I'm going to take Dallas to win on the road here. I think Dallas keeps the hot streak going. They get their fourth win in a row. And they've improved to 7-5-1.
Dude, that's crazy. You know what, man? And do we know about St. Brown's status? I know before the video we were talking that he might end up playing, especially in a must-win like this.
It doesn't seem good for him to be playing. And if he does, I feel like he may be more. I don't know. I don't know how effective he'll be because I know he's still dealing with some injury and all that, or some pain management. And that's what I've been reading today. But who knows? He's a tough dude. He's a great player. I wouldn't be shocked if he did go out there, play, get a touchdown, and 50, 100 yards. But I also wouldn't be shocked if he didn't play at all, or if he played and really was a decoy. So could go any which way. I get him so I had to bet on it. I wouldn't rely on him doing too much. But I actually do think he might end up suiting up.
Yeah, man, that makes this line even crazier for me because they have the Lions as favorites. They haven't looked too good recently. And then the Cowboys on the opposite side of that coin have looked better recently, firing on all cylinders. Even their defense looks better. And here they are as the underdogs. I know it's in Detroit, tough place to play, but no Laporta, no St. Brown, pressure Goff. How many more pieces you really have if they start stacking the box against Gibbs, especially if that Cowboys defense shows up. If the money line was a little different, like if it was like Cowboys plus 110, I'd say trap game all the way. Cowboys are winning, take the Cowboys. Something about this line kind of scares me, but everything in my gut, even before Tom picked it, was what I said originally was the Cowboys have just been the better team recently, to me at least. And I know it's on the road, it's scary, but I like the Cowboys getting the points. Never thought I'd say this. I've been picking the Lions a lot recently, and they've been burning me. I'm taking the Cowboys to win outright. They definitely have the capability to do it. This Thursday night game might be one of the craziest games to pick of the whole week slate of games. I will say, though, the only place where I'm different than Tom is this over-under 54.5 scares me. I'm going to say under. Once again, no St. Brown, no Laporta. Cowboys can put up points, but they always going to put up that many points. I know their defense is somewhat vulnerable. Picking the unders kind of burned me last week, and I'm known as like the over guy in this series, and it's worked well for me in the past. But 54.5 on a short, that's a little high for me. All right, moving on into the Sunday slate of games. 1 p.m. we got New Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Saints kind of coming to the end of their rope over here. Not too much left to play for. Kamara sounds like he might still be hurt as well. Trading a few of their pieces away. Still kind of contending in some games that they're in, though. I'll give them credit there. Bucks on the other side of this coin really need a win to hold on to the lead in this division. They got the Panthers creeping up on them. It's at home. It's against a division rival. I like the Bucks to win outright. I think the defense shows up this week. The defense played the Saints very well the last time these two teams met a few weeks ago in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. I will say... I'm going to say they win by more than 8.5, guys. I could see them winning by like even 2 touchdowns in this one at home. Baker's back. Godwin's back. Bucky's back. Let's not forget that. All signs are pointing this Buccaneers securing this win. As far as over under 42.5, I know Tom would usually say, how many points can the Saints put up? You know what I mean? And once the Buccaneers defense does their job, what's the point of even putting up more? It's funny I took an under in the first one because I'm taking the over in this one, which I don't feel too confident about, but it could hit, at least in my opinion. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, this is a weird one because I'm looking at the injury report for Tampa. Worse than practice, but Evans was limited. He might play this week, which I didn't really know much about. So keep an eye on that because that obviously changes their offense quite a bit. McMillan was limited. I don't know if he's coming back this week or not. Well, that injury report's going to be interesting to follow throughout the week. But with that being said, I think Shucks played okay. And the Saints, they nearly won in Miami last week. They've been playing not great, but not as bad as their record would indicate, I think. So I'm going to take them plus 8.5. Tampa's been weird to me recently. They haven't looked all that special. Baker doesn't seem like he's right. Abuka's been really quiet. Bucky looked pretty good last week coming back. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to take New Orleans plus 8.5 here, and I'm going to take the over 42.5. I do think there will be some points scored here, especially if Evans and some of these guys do come back for Tampa. But ultimately, Tampa, I'm taking them money line. I do think they'll win this game. Like you said at the top, they have to win this for their division's sake. This is kind of like a must-win territory type of game. So I think they know that, and they'll come out and they'll get a good win. But I think it'll be closer than 8.5.
All right, moving on. We have the Seattle Seahawks, which just shut out the Vikings at home last week. Taking on the Falcons, who were in a tight game against the Jets, ended up losing by a field goal, but haven't looked too bad with Cousins under center. What did I say? I said when he came back, feed Bijan the ball. Him and Mooney already had a little bit of chemistry. Him and Pitts had a chemistry. And the Falcons' defense and special teams has kind of been okay all year. With that said, look at this line. It's a little closer than I thought it would be. Seahawks are on the road, though, so I like the Seahawks to squeak out a win, but guess what? And this is crazy. I'm going to actually give the Falcons the points. I don't know why. I just feel like they played a little better recently. It is at home. I do like this over a lot, though. I feel like these two teams, historically, from what I can remember, always are in high-scoring games. Sounds like Sam Darnold's going to play. Battle of the Birds, Seahawks at the Falcons. That's my take. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, this one, I think if London was playing, I would feel a lot better about the spread. But I don't think London's going to play. He didn't practice today. So I'm a little concerned with that. And I think the Falcons' defense would have to be really strong to stay in it. But it's in Atlanta. Atlanta just had a really tough loss. I'm going to take Atlanta +7 here. I don't feel very confident about this one, so buyer beware. But I'm going to ride with some of the underdog stuff here, and I'm going to take Atlanta +7. I'm also going to take the under 44.5. But I'm going to take Seattle to win. I think Seattle will win by around a field goal, maybe even 7 on the dot. But I feel like Atlanta will get some defensive plays. Darnold's not 100% right now with the ankle issue. Could be interesting if they can get some pressure on him. But either way, I'm going to take Atlanta to cover, but Seattle to win this game.
Dude, it's a conversation for a whole different video, but sometimes in our picks, there's no rhyme or reason or statistical backing for some of our picks. You just kind of go off a gut feeling. Almost like the Panthers last week. We were like, oh, the Panthers are due to cover, but also the Rams and Seahawks, who have been hot recently. And I know the Rams beat the Seahawks a few weeks back. Both those teams were due for a loss, or at least a game where they were in like a competitive game. We've been saying the same thing about the Patriots, but you called that their schedule was easy. And you know what? It served us right most of the time in these picks videos. So for some reason, guys, we think Falcons +7 in this one. Hopefully they come through and cover.
Yep.
Bengals at the Bills. Joe Burrow is back, and he's taking on Josh Allen in the cold at 1 p.m. December game. Very fun game, this one. Look at the over-under here, guys. Man, faith in Burrow. Not sure Higgins' status. I know he didn't play last week. Maybe he's back. Maybe that's why this over-under is what it is. Jamar Chase, all his weapons. Bengals defense looked a little better. And the Bills, I don't know, guys. The Bills, even though they got the win against the Steelers last week, haven't looked the same since the bye or the beginning of the year. Dare I say, I'm giving the Bengals the +5.5, strictly off motivation and like the way they've played recently. There's still a chance, believe it or not, I saw this. There's still a chance that they could come back in the division, maybe even make the playoffs, the Bengals, but they probably have to win out. Bills, kind of no chance at winning the AFC East, if I'm not mistaken, unless the Patriots lose out, but they're kind of fighting for their playoff hopes as well. Another reason why this game is very interesting, fun game. Should be a shootout. You know what, guys? Think about that Bengals defense. Think about that Bills defense all year, and look at these two QBs. I know before I was saying I'm a little scared of the high 50s over-unders, but I feel like this one could go over. Just keep an eye on the weather, as long as it's not snowing or raining. Definitely could go over. Fun, high-scoring shootout game between two great QBs. But guess what? Even though I'm giving the Bengals the points, I still feel like the Bills could win this game. Bills are a slightly better team overall than the Bengals, and that's not saying much.
Man, this is tough, bro. I don't know why this one's tough, but every time these two teams face off, it's always very interesting to me. And Bengals seem to have their number. They beat them in the playoffs in Buffalo a few years ago. When Burrow plays, they're just a different team. Even their defense looked really good last week.
They just beat the Ravens,
what's
man.
What's going on? You know what I mean? They're one of the worst defenses all year. But with that being said, let me start with the over-under. The weather right now looks like it's just going to be very cold. It doesn't look like rain or snow or anything at this point. Obviously, that can change. So I think that's good. That serves us well. And it looks like T. Higgins is probably going to end up playing, so I'm going to take the over here.
Ooh.
I'm going to trust the history that neither of these defenses have been great all year, and trust that these two quarterbacks are great, so they'll get points on the board. That being said, I'm going to take Buffalo minus 5.5. I'm super reluctant to do it. I just think they're going to end up winning by like a touchdown. I feel like it's going to be a close game, but I see a final score with the Bills winning by a touchdown. Could get burned, and it may end up being a field goal, but I'm going to take Buffalo minus 5.5. I'm taking the over, and I'm taking Buffalo to win this game at home.
That one's crazy, man. Josh Allen should carve up that defense, but they played better last week. This would be a huge win for the Bengals now, and, we'll see how that one plays out. It's going to be fun. Definitely a game to keep our eyes on. Speaking of game to keep our eyes on, we got Steelers-Ravens now, heating up in the AFC North over here, another division rival game in Baltimore. Just lost to the Bengals there. Steelers, defense has looked better in recent weeks. And think about this. The Ravens just had a tough time with the Bengals defense last week. Now they're taking on the Steelers defense. Oof, that's a tough pull. Gosh, this is a tough one. I like the Ravens to right the ship, so right away I'll take them money line. There's no way they can kind of play worse with 3 turnovers from Lamar himself last week. I kind of want to give the Steelers the points, but I don't know. Their QB situation kind of scares me. I feel like even with Rodgers healthy last week, they took him out in the third quarter, whatever that was going on. So I don't know what their situation is, but the defense is still there. And the Ravens defense, who's looked a little better, is somewhat vulnerable. So believe it or not, guys, I'm actually going to take the under 42.5 here. And I'm going to take, just out on a whim, not my most confident pick, the Ravens -6 to beat the Steelers at home. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, there's not much for me to say. I agree with everything you said. I'm worried, and it's mainly because I'm worried about the Rodgers situation. He's looked awful. I mean, he was so bad last week against Buffalo. He was bad when he played that Chargers game. He didn't play the week before that, so, he doesn't look good at all. And I don't know if it's injury. I don't know if it's just because he's old. Maybe it's both. Their offense is a mess. So I love the under in this one. Normally, these games should be tight, and then if Rodgers was healthy, even despite him playing bad, I might say +6, but there's a chance he gets out of this game or doesn't play or whatever. I don't know. I think the Ravens will win this one, and I think they're going to cover the 6-point spread. So I agree with you all the way around. I'm taking Ravens -6, I'm taking the under, and I'm taking the money line, obviously. And I'm just a little bit worried mainly about where the Steelers are heading because it doesn't look good.
Yeah, they always joke about they have to go at least 500 every year. They've played better, but I don't know. This year, they're in a tough division. They're in just a tough spot overall. They don't know what's going on. So we had too much ayahuasca for Aaron Rodgers recently. So, all right, we got Indianapolis Colts taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Guys, this has been a weird NFL season. 3 games in a row, 4 that we've picked, only out of the 5-6 so far. These are all crazy, competitive, fun games, division rivalry games here. This is a crazy slate of games and just been a crazy NFL season in general. A lot more competitive than in recent years. Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Colts just dropped one to the Texans, which Tom called, and then the Jaguars beat the Titans pretty handily. Defense kind of stepped up, but everyone beats the Titans. I don't know, guys. The only thing that scares me about this one's the over-under. I feel like even on the road, this is going to be the telltale sign, and I've been saying it all year. And Tom said it before week 1. When is Daniel Jones going to revert to being Daniel Jones, and when are the Colts going to show cracks or flaws in their perfect game plans? I think the Colts do win, and I like that it's a pick 'em. So if you feel confident about this game, there's money to be made. Only thing I don't like is the over-under, because the Jaguars usually aren't in high-scoring games like this. I know they're taking on a high-scoring offense in the Colts, but the Jaguars' defense has showed up in 3 of their last 4 games. So, man, very rare for me to do, but another under for me here, under 47.5. But I do think the Colts can win by more than 1.5 on the road against their division rivals, keep the lead in the division for now. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to zag a little bit. Jaguars have been hot. I think they've won, 3 in a row now after blowing that Texans game. Colts have not been hot. They've been on a little struggle. They've been a little bit of a slump. Daniel Jones isn't 100%. He played okay last week against a really tough, I think, the best defense in the NFL, Houston team. And this is another tough defensive team in Jacksonville. They've played pretty good. And they're confident. They're at home. I like Jacksonville here. I'm going to take them +1.5. I'm going to take the under. I think this one stays lower than 47.5, and I'm going to take Jacksonville to win this game outright at home. I think the Colts. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up missing the playoffs. That's what I'm going to say.
Wow.
I wouldn't be shocked, which is crazy considering they were, I think, 7-1 at one point. But it's happened before. I mean, remember all those years ago at Denver when they were 6-0 and they missed the playoffs when they had I think it was Josh McDaniels coaching the team at the time. But yeah, it's happened before. So I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen. Just saying I wouldn't be surprised. But I think the Jaguars winning this game would be a huge hit for the Colts, especially if Houston wins their game, which we'll get to later. But anyways, analysis aside, I'm taking Jacksonville. I just like them better on the home spot here.
Well, we know you're Trevor Lawrence's biggest believer, and he's your second favorite QB in the league. If you watch these video guys, if you watch our series, he says it every week. So, what's your take on Dolphins Jets? You go first on this one at New York.
Yeah, I mean, first off, let me start with Jets have been played better. They look like they're kind of coming together a little bit more, starting to buy into what Aaron Glenn's selling a little bit. But Dolphins are playing great, and it has been against weaker competition. But Jets continue this weaker competition narrative, right? Jets aren't anything special. So, although it is in New York, and we'll see what the weather looks like here in December, I like Miami to go in there and get a win. I think they're confident. They want to keep winning. Although their playoff hopes are slim to none, they're probably still trying to convince themselves it's possible. And they got more talent. I mean, really, sometimes these games just come down to who's more talented, right? And I think ultimately Miami's just more talented, especially on offense. So I like Miami to win this one, -2.5. Over under 41.5 here. I'm actually going to take the under. This one should be an interesting game, but I think it'll be relatively low scoring here. And I think Miami's going to go into New York and get a win, but I'm seeing like a 21-17 type of finish.
Very interesting. Great analysis on that one, bro. Two teams coming off a win. I can see why the line is what it is. Jets pulled off a win. Dolphins have looked better recently. Division rivals, but I liked what Tom said, that the Dolphins are just a slightly better team than the Jets overall. Should beat them in this spot. I'm going to take them money line as well, even on the road in MetLife to beat the Jets. Only difference is I'm not sure the ending of that game-winning field goal, the Falcons-Jets game. Oh, well, it says it went over 39.5, so I'll take the over. I feel like it's going to be a very similar game to that. I can definitely see why the line is what it is. I could see one of these two teams winning by 3, maybe a touchdown at most. Jets have looked better. No real reason for them to win. Their playoff hopes are done, I'm pretty sure. And then the Dolphins, like Tom said, slim to none, but they're still fighting, competing. Look better in recent weeks than they did in the beginning of the season, that's for sure. I'll take the Dolphins -2.5. Maybe they win by just 3, you know what I mean? And we hit all 3 picks. Moving on, Tennessee Titans at the Cleveland Browns. The battle of the two low-scoring offenses. Over under 33.5. Wow. But, we can also say on the other side of the coin, the Browns defense is pretty good, and the Titans defense shows up from time to time. Guys, let's be real. The Browns have beaten better teams, and with that defense, they could definitely give Cam Ward and the Titans some problems, who let up a lot of sacks. I like the Browns to win at home. Careful of the weather in this one as well, especially with the over-under. Cleveland, it could snow anytime, very cold this time of the year. I think Cleveland wins by more than 4.5, to tell you the truth. This could be a game that Sanders could put up points, you know what I mean, against a vulnerable Titans defense. And I'm going to pull a crazy move here, guys. I know I'm just bragging about the defenses and how bad these teams are, but maybe it goes over. I feel like, maybe even if it ends at 34, 35, 36, I'm taking over in this one. It's a little too low scoring for me. What do you think, Tom?
This is tough, man. I can see this going in a lot of different ways. Two kind of dog shit teams. Let's just be honest about it, right? Like, they're nothing special, but Cleveland has a good defensive unit for sure. And I like Cam Ward. I've said that before the draft, during the season. I've tried to give him his props. I just think he's surrounded by a lot of not great NFL players, and bad coaching as well.
Their best receiver's named Dyke.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to take Cleveland -4.5, simply just because I think Titans are going to have a tough time moving the ball down the field. Especially in Cleveland. Right now, the weather actually seems to be pretty good, but I just think that D-line and Myles Garrett is going to feast on Cam Ward.
Oh, yeah.
So I like Cleveland minus 4.5. I'm going to go with the under 33.5. I think this is going to be like a 20-10 type of final.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Cleveland to win at home. But man, going under on a 33.5 spread is crazy. But I'm going to do it. So let's see what happens.
That's insane. But hey, that's why it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Guys, a fun one here. Ready for this? Washington Commanders, Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Two teams that are probably third or fourth place in their division, you know what I mean, looking for a win over here. But the Commanders were just in a tight game on Sunday Night Football against the Denver Broncos, arguably one of the better teams in the league. Mariota has just been fighting for this team all year, man. And McLaurin's back. I think he had 2 touchdowns, very impressive. Commanders defense, nothing great, but they get a few turnovers. Now I think on the other side of the coin we have J.J. McCarthy. I'm pretty sure he has to play this week. If he doesn't, then they better go to the local grocery store in Minnesota and grab a QB, because anyone's better than whoever they had in last week. That was insane. Did you see that one pick he threw? That was crazy. But
yes,
all right,
I watched it live.
But guys, think about what I just.
People were saying that he would be better than JJ, which is crazy.
Oh, I know. I'm surprised we didn't get any comments saying that. But you know what, bro? Think about what I just said, and then look at this line. Now they have the Commanders as underdogs, where I feel like the Commanders, believe it or not, could be the better team of these two right now. Aaron Jones is a little banged up. He hasn't done much. Justin Jefferson, get him the ball somehow, but I feel like he's mentally, morally given up. The defense, they can't put up points. Like, maybe they can with like a pick six or a scoop and score, but that offense needs to wake up and get together. And guess what? The Commanders have been putting up points. And like I said, getting a few stops. I'm giving the Commanders the 2.5 here, guys. And I'm going to take them to win outright. I don't feel confident about it. I'm just giving you my analysis on what I've seen in recent weeks between these teams. Maybe J.J. McCarthy gets his get together. We've seen in the past that he's capable of it. If there was ever a time for the Vikings to get a win, now's the time. And I'm taking the over 42.5. The Commanders are going to put up 21 to 22 points in this game. Hopefully the Vikings can put up, 22 as well. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, JJ. So I just read the report. JJ practiced fully today, so sounds like he's going to play. Aaron Jones is limited. The key is Jaden Daniels. He was limited participant today. Sounds like he may end up playing this week, which is interesting. So I'm going to take Washington plus 2.5. I think even if it is Mariota, they can keep it close. But if it's Daniels, I feel even better about that plus 2.5. And that's probably why the spread is where it is, although Minnesota's nothing special. I'm going to ride with you on the over. I don't feel great about it, but considering I just watched Washington put up almost 30 against Denver, why can't they go into a dome and put up 20 against Washington, right, if not more? So, or against Minnesota. So I like the over 42.5. Man, money line is tough. These are two teams I don't believe in. I told everyone before the year Washington wasn't going to do anything special. I'm going to go ahead here, and I'm going to take Minnesota at home. I'm going to take them to win this game at home. And maybe surprise some people, but I do like Washington to cover, and that tells you how confident I am in this pick, which means I'm not very confident, but cover my ass a little bit. I'll take Washington in the plus money, but I like Minnesota on the money line.
All right, guys, moving into the 4 p.m. slate of games. Speaking of division rivals, we got Denver Broncos traveling to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Broncos, offense cooled down a little bit. Their defense still looks pretty tremendous. I believe they have 10 wins, looking good on the season. Raiders, the opposite of that. Who did they play last week? Jeez, where was it? I know, right? They took on they played the Chargers and lost by more than 10. So, geez, Pete Carroll's throwing his headphones on the ground and stuff. It's over for the Raiders this year. This was a close game when they played on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks back. The Raiders covered. They held Bo Nix to a very small amount of yards, not too many touchdowns. I think it's the complete opposite this time. And look at this spread. I think the Broncos go in there and run wild on them. The over-under is 40.5. Max Crosby will still cause problems. Jamal Adams is still there. And, of course, this will be the game that Geno Smith wakes up. With that said, barring the over-under, I think the Broncos win handily, and I think they win by more than 7.5 this time. And then as far as over-under, just because, maybe the Commanders just put up points on the Broncos defense, and magically this will be the game that Raiders offense wakes up. Both teams put up at least 21 points. I'm taking the over 40.5. What do you think, Tom?
This is tough for me because I know the Raiders, as they've been beyond atrocious, okay? They've been beyond atrocious. They're on a 6-game losing streak, including losses to the Browns. The last time they won was against the Titans, okay? That was the last time they won at home. But with that being said, the Raiders are going to win one of these games because that's just how the NFL works, right? They play the Broncos, the Eagles, the Texans, the Giants, the Chiefs. Probably will end up being the Giants, right? That seems like the team that they'll end up winning. But don't be shocked if it's somebody else. That's all I'm going to say. With that being said, why are you sharing that, Tom? Because I just want to warn everybody with these division games and teams that look so fucking putrid randomly getting wins. It's how the league works. All that being said, not happening this week. I think Denver had a scare Sunday night on the road. Now they go into Vegas. I don't think it happens twice in 2 weeks. I'm taking Denver -7.5. I'm taking the over, though. I'm taking the over 40.5 here at plus money. I like that. And I'm taking Denver to win this game outright.
That's it, man. All right, guys. LA Rams, Cardinals. Fun game, fun game. I saw something that the Niners are going to advance whether the Bears or Packers win, and they definitely advance if the Rams or the Seahawks lose, which would be cool. Rams, are they going to lose 2 in a row after dropping one to the Panthers, both on the road? I don't know about that. I think we saw all year, me and Tom have been discussing it, that every time the Rams lose or in a tight game, they play pretty hard the next week, and they still look pretty solid. With that said, the Cardinals have been a lot of close-scoring, good games with Brissett under center. I'm going to take the over 47.5 indoor game. You know, like I said, the Cardinals are at home, division rival. They have upset division rivals in the past this time of the year. But with that said, I think the Rams win outright. I really want to give the Cardinals the +7.5. And I'm going to. Screw it. I'm going to give the Cardinals the +7.5. But I think the Rams still win this one. And I think it's high scoring. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to zag here. I'm going to take the Rams -7.5. The Cardinals have a lot of injuries. I was just got their injury report. Marvin Harrison didn't practice. Kyler's still out. Their O-line, Beacham's hurt. Trey Benson doesn't look like he's coming back. Greg Dortch is hurt. They got a bunch of guys who are hurt. DeMarcado, I think, was limited. But either way, there's a lot going on there. It is in Arizona, which is helpful, but I think the Rams coming off a loss are going to be really motivated and play much better, especially on defense this week. So I like the Rams -7.5, and I like the under here at 47.5. But I'm going to take the Rams money line, and I think they win this game pretty handily by 2 scores or more.
All right, well, let me say Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers.
This is your team.
I don't know if I can go as far as saying my team, but guys, listen. We're here yet again. The Bears, on whatever win streak they have or whatever, think about their record. I think the number 1 seed in the NFC, insane if you think about it, +6.5. +6.5. I know it's on the road. I know it's in Green Bay. I know it's December, but I like them right away, just getting 6.5. Caleb Williams is so lucky this year he could close his eyes and throw the ball downfield. Somehow they'll win the game. I do like it to go over 44.5. I know the Packers defense isn't bad, but the Bears defense is vulnerable, and Jordan Love threw for like 4 touchdowns on Thanksgiving. Both these teams have looked a little better. They could put up points. I actually like that over a lot for some reason, even in the cold. And then, guys, if they do it this week, watch out for the Bears for whatever reason. I'm taking the Bears at +270 to win outright on the road against their division rivals. They do have the better record than them. I'm a little surprised this line is what it is. At least more of like a trap game to take people's money. So be wary. Maybe that's the line is what it is because they know something we don't. But how can I pick against the Bears in this spot? With that said, the Packers have been playing very good, but I like the Bears in this spot. What do you think, Tom?
All right. I love your analysis. I love the pick. I picked the Bears to make the playoffs here. I say it every video. Sorry, guys. Taking the Bears +6.5. Let's do it. In Green Bay, riding hot, feeling good. Got the extra couple days with the game on Friday. I know the Packers had a game on Thursday, so both these teams are well rested. But Bears +6.5. I'm taking the under 44.5. This gives me old school, physical, run game, cold weather vibes. And I'm taking the Packers to win. I think the Packers do get it done. I think they win by a round of field goal, and a really fun game for the first seed in the NFC North and the first seed in the NFC, as you mentioned. But going to go with the Packers to win this one.
I know you like discussing the Texans sometimes, and the Chiefs are coming off a surprising loss, maybe fighting for their playoff hopes. What do you think of this Sunday night football game for Week 14, Houston Texans at Kansas City Chiefs?
This is for their playoff hopes. They lose this game, I think they're done.
Wow.
There's two, unless everything goes the Chiefs' way. But falling to 6-7 when you're behind multiple teams that are 8-4 would put them essentially 2 or 3 games back with 4 games left, I believe. Not a good spot to be in. I'm taking the Texans plus 3.5. I think their defense is that good. I think it travels. I think they're well coached, and they need this win just as bad as the Chiefs do because they're trying to win that division and they're 7-5 now. So I like the plus 3.5 for Houston. The over under 41.5 is really tricky because both these defenses are capable. With that being said, I'm going to take the over here. Very slight over, but I'm going to take it at 41.5, and I'm going to take the Chiefs to win at home. Like, if it was in Houston, I would have flipped it, but I think the Chiefs will win this game, but they're not going to win by more than 3.
That one shocked me, bro. You know, it's funny you say that you think the Chiefs win at home. I'm surprised this line is what it is. The Texans have beaten better teams than the Chiefs, and I don't think the Chiefs are out of it just yet. They just can't. And, you know, maybe that's why the line is what it is. I can't see them being eliminated from the playoffs this early, but the Texans have been red hot, playing so good. You know, Stroud's back. I like the Texans getting the points. I'll take the Texans to win outright. I'm not too confident about it, but I'm surprised that the Texans aren't favored in this one, guys. And as far as over under 41.5, the only reason I'll go with the over with Tom and you guys is because I feel like Mahomes could put up points. If there's anyone in the league who can put up points on the Texans defense, maybe it's their poster boy, Magic Mahomes. So we'll see how that one goes. And then we got the Monday night football game is the Philadelphia Eagles coming off a rare loss to the LA Chargers. They're traveling across country to take on the Chargers. Ooh, tough pull. I think the Eagles right the ship this week, so I am going to take them the money line, cover it. The Chargers, great team. If they were getting more points, I would give them the points, but it's only 3, and I think the Eagles just, you know, they're bound for that offense to look better. A.J. Brown's been there. Saquon can't play worse than he has. And I'm going to go over because the Chargers might get Hampton back, and they can put up points. I like it over. I like the Eagles to win a slight game. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I like the Eagles minus 3 as well. I know I've picked them a lot. I'm expecting them to play better on offense at some point. Chargers, I'm a little worried about their injuries with Herbert's hand. Hampton is coming back, I believe, but I know he's been out for a while, so, and their O-line's obviously still banged up, so I think Eagles are going to be able to right the ship. I hope I'm wrong. I'm rooting for LA, obviously, but I think Eagles will win this one. I'm going to take them minus 3. I'm going to take the under here, which is risky. I don't feel great about it, but I'm going to go with the under. I think this game ends up being relatively low scoring, and I like the Eagles on the road to win this game outright.
How much time you got?
About 2 minutes.
Guys, I did want to say before we get into the confident picks, thank you so much for making last week's video, which was a fun one and a crazy week football, our second most viewed video in this series. Almost 600 views, you know, a few comments, and, you know, people threw out some really cool picks, which ended up hitting, which was surprising in an underdog week. But like always, like the videos, share, subscribe, join in the conversation. The more people we tell about, more people we share these videos with, comment, like, subscribe, the more people we have in this conversation of, oh, I like this pick. This pick's crazy. I don't like this pick. This is who I think is going to win this week. If you've taken one of our picks in the past and it's helped you, please share us. And if you've taken one of our picks in the past and it's hurt you, please share us. So, like always, thank you so much, guys. Confident picks this week. Tom, Jaguars getting 2. Where are they at? Jaguars getting 1.5. The Buccaneers money line outright, right up here. And then the Dolphins money line, where are they at? Right here against the Jets. I got the Bucks money line as well. I got the Seahawks Falcons going over. And then I liked, where was it, that Bears Packers game to go over. Like always, guys, love you guys. Hopefully it's a great week. See you again next week. Tom, anything to say?
Guys, we love you. Good, bad, indifferent comments. Always appreciate it. Like, subscribe, keep supporting the channel, and remember, bet with your head, not over your head. Best of luck, everyone.
Peace.